and welcome to Cubby TV. This is Steve Cubby, your host, and we're going to be talking with Jeff Wright. This will be part two. We did an interview with him yesterday. We're going to continue today. And Jeff, looking at Colorado and Washington, as someone with your background, what do you see in these two initiatives? How are they the same? How are they different? How will they affect us? How will they affect the world?
The primary distinction between Washington and Colorado is that Colorado did it through an initiated amendment, whereas Washington State and Initiative 502 was initiated statute. In Colorado, and the primary difference is why those two approaches were taken is the difference in where the initiated amendment process works. The petition process works in states and where it's not allowed. We only have 23 states currently that have that can allow initiated constitutional amendments or initiatives at all. The other 27 states do not allow for the initiative process. Because of that, Washington chose the initiated statute path. Colorado chose the initiated constitutional amendment path. The reason that that's better is because a constitutional amendment is a change in fundamental law, whereas a change in the initiative statute process is a change in basically positive law or instituted law against a constitution. So what you find is with Colorado, it's harder to attack. It's much harder to attack a constitutional amendment than it is to attack an initiated statute.
Now, Jeff, as you know, recently Eric Holder made some pronouncements at the San Francisco annual meeting of the American Bar Association, and he began those pronouncements by praising Linda Haag, the U.S. Attorney for Northern California, who has gone after some of the most reputable and respected dispensaries there, including Harborside, Richard Lee's operation, Blue Sky, and Berkeley Patients Group. So how would you interpret this non-binding, wishy-washy kind of statement that we got from Eric Holder?
He had to say that simply because he recognized what a capitulation this was, right? That memo was a very well-crafted political memo, basically to say we surrender. We know we can't go after this for a reason I'll get to in just a minute. However, it's clear that I have to put in some kind of a statement saying we're not really giving up. He's got to throw a bone out there and say we're reserving the right to attack at some later date. What that attack might be, we've surrendered, but what day we might be able to attack in the future, I just can't say yet. And what we'll find out is, particularly because what is going to happen because of that memorandum. It is a signal to every other state that was either considering medical marijuana or considering full legalization of recreational marijuana, that since that was one of the last opponent argument that they had to those measures was, well, the feds are going to come in here and they're going to start prosecuting our citizens and attack the problem within the state and take it away from our law enforcement and all these other lame excuses. With that memorandum, that whole line of argument has been removed. What you're going to see in the next legislative session is a whole lot of recreational and medical marijuana bills being introduced in states where it still hasn't been legalized yet. It's exactly the same process that occurred with the end of Prohibition. As soon as New York State said, we are no longer going to enforce, even though it was actually a constitutional amendment in the 18th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, when New York said we're no longer going to enforce alcohol prohibition within New York, it was over and everybody knew it. Every state then started following suit, and they started passing bills in their legislatures in their state legislatures, effectively nullifying the federal enforcement of alcohol prohibition within the other states. It became so obvious within 6 months of New York's move that prohibition was finished and done, that it didn't take long after that they introduced the 21st Amendment, repealing the 18th Amendment for alcohol prohibition. What you're going to find is the same effect here.
Jeff, I want to thank you for joining us today and sharing your perceptions and experiences. It's helpful for us to understand just what we're up against. And I'd like to suggest to our audience, go to citizenslaststand.com and check out Jeff's amazing book, Citizens Last Stand. This has been Steve Cubby with Cubby TV, brought to you on Cannabis Culture and Pot TV websites. Have a great 420 day.
The proximity of what I hope to be, the weight so heavy where I stand, the indecision builds within my twisted sense of self, and all I know